I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
Here we go. It's another edition of the Daily Puck Drop. It is Tuesday, December 16th. This is not the normal backdrop that you would see. We are live in the one and only. It's God's country, ladies and gentlemen. It's Pullman, Washington, Washington State University. Look at this beautiful Residence Inn room behind me in gorgeous Pullman. We're here today for the Kirby Moore press conference. We'll get to that just momentarily. We'll talk about that. We've got news, and that's going to be at 1 o'clock today. So we'll have another special show coming up a little bit later there in the program. I'm just going to hope this works today. We're going to have a little bit of a later show. Danny Kelly's going to join us in a few minutes. So we'll get to Danny. We'll get his latest there on the Seahawks and Rams coming up there on Thursday. Then we're going to cut out, and then we're going to come back around 12:45 today, leading up to the Kirby Moore press conference come up at 1 o'clock over here at Washington State. So we are not in the Limbach Lumber Studios, but listen, we could not do this without the fine folks there at Limbach Lumber. Big thanks to them. They're going to take care of you. They're going to offer free deliveries, everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects. They've got the largest, and I mean the largest stock moldings in the Northwest. They've got old school service. Why? Because they've been doing it since 1930, folks. Give them a call, 206-782-3487. Visit them online at limbachlumber.com. You can visit me on all social media channels, Puck Sports, everywhere except for the old TikTok. There it is Puck_sports, and you can find everything up at pucksports.com, including signing up to be a member of the Pucks Posse. You get access to everything that we do here daily, plus you get free shows. Oh, excuse me, not free shows. You get bonus shows when you sign up to be a Pucks Posse member. Yes, we probably should have done the show, Connor. You're exactly right. If I was thinking wisely, I would have done the show from the Coug. And here's the thing. A quick shout out to the Coug. I love the Coug. Everybody loves the Coug, especially if you went to school here. I pull into town last night. Are they out of school? I think they're out of school right now. I pull into town around 10:30. I'm thinking, all right, I'll go sneak in there for just one quick beer. Is the mug still in there? It's got to be closed. How can it be closed? I know it's a Monday, but can we stay open for the little guys? Come on, Coug, let's go. All right, so again, short show this morning, and then we'll be back later in the afternoon for the Kirby Moore press conference. But again, if you're not a Pucks Posse member, sign up. Again, it supports everything that we do here daily on the Daily Puck Drop. Plus, you get bonus shows throughout the week. Like tomorrow, you're going to get Inside Pitch with Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times. We'll get to baseball here in just a quick second. It's on the rundown. Brendan Donovan. I've got some news and notes from the Scout. The Scout is back, giving me some intel there on both. And then Thursdays, of course, we've got KJ Arntz with Mitch Levy. And speaking of Mitch, I would go check out the latest Mitch Unfiltered podcast. Great stuff in there, as always. The Rick Neuheisel is tremendous. It is really, he's very open, very honest about interviewing there at Washington State for the job, and didn't hide his disappointment about it. And it was, of all the interviews that Neuheisel has done on this topic, this is by far and away the best. Wait till later today. Don't listen to it right now. Maybe just later. Then go support Mitch Unfiltered, but support us here in the meantime. Again, we'll get to the Kirby Moore press conference again coming up later today. We're going to catch up with as many guests as that we possibly can coming up later. Obviously, we'll have Kirby Moore on, efforting to get President Elizabeth Cantwell on, the interim AD. It's just anyone that's there. We're going to carry the press conference live here on Puck Sports, where at least we're going to attempt to. Again, you have to understand this is a one-man band. It's the host, it's the CEO, it's the producer, it's also the technical producer. So we'll just see how it goes once we get over there. But the attempt is to carry the press conference coming up at 1 o'clock today, and then react to it live once the press conference is over. I know Jack Thompson's going to stop on by, and we'll get his thoughts on Kirby Moore being introduced as the new football coach. I'm excited. And what does it mean now? Obviously, you have to do a wait and see approach with all of these hires, but I just think on the surface, I'm just extremely, extremely excited about what Kirby Moore can potentially do here. I mean, he's young. It goes back to the offensive roots that I think a lot of Washington State fans like and want and kind of have expected to see their football teams play with. I think the local angle, for me, it's important. And maybe not for everyone. I know Jim and I probably disagreed on this one when it came to an alum, and I did agree to a point that I don't think an alum needed to get the job. I think for Kirby being around here, growing up in Eastern Washington, understanding what the climate is, growing up being a Coug fan himself, and at times wanted to go to school here, had an offer, but because as the story goes, they did not offer a scholarship to Kellen Moore. God, we got to find out who that was. Was that Rosenbaum back in the day? It might have been. He decided to follow, his brother's footsteps to go to Boise State. I think for me, and I've repeated this a lot when it's come to Kirby Moore, is I think the culture that he has come from, and it doesn't start just with Boise. Do your research on his father, Tom Moore. I mean, he's regarded as one of the best head coaches in the history of this state. What he did at Prosser High School, revolutionizing the passing game and offensive football in this state, which led his son to put up just incredible numbers when he was at Prosser, and just an incredible football powerhouse and legacy in that high school and in that community. So he goes from there over to Boise State. And again, look at the people that he played under and coached under. Chris Peterson, okay, played for him, worked under him at Washington. I mean, Chris Peterson is one of the best head coaches the game's ever seen, right? Kalen DeBoer. I don't need to give you Kalen DeBoer's credentials as a football coach. And then Jeff Tedford. Again, I don't need to give you the credentials of Jeff Tedford. So I think the people that he has worked under, the fact that he has spent the last few years in the SEC, seeing how that style of football has been played, I think the tree of coaches that he's been under, the amount of contacts that there's so many coaches spread out around college football that played or coached at Boise State. And I just think that, and we've said this a lot when it's come to Washington State, they can be Boise State. Even though Boise State was in a, quote, lesser conference for, years, and now they're going to be in the same conference. I think as a football fan of Washington State, I always looked up to what Boise State did and said, why can't we model ourselves after that? When people said, well, you can't be more of a running style, more of a balancing, you always have to throw the ball, I would always be quick to say, well, Boise State has done it for years. Why can't Washington State? So I think for him to have that type of background and that many resources and people to bring along with him to Washington State, I'm really excited about, and excited that he's going to be the head coach going into this new conference. All right, before we get to Danny Kelly, we get Danny's Dimes there from The Ringer. We'll get to just a quick second. Brendan Donovan, there's been a lot of smoke here with Brendan Donovan, obviously with the Mariners missing out there on Jorge Polanco. There's been trade talks with the Mariners and also the Diamondbacks for Ketel Marte. The one that's really been heating up is the Mariners and the Cardinals for Brendan Donovan. Now, a name that has been brought up a lot there with Donovan has been the switch pitcher, Durangelo Sanjay, and has been brought up the slugger, Laz Montez. Now, all you baseball geeks out there, Mariner geeks, know who Laz Montez is. You've seen all the highlights, all the videos and the clips and everything. And when you watch this guy play baseball and you hear him hit a baseball, your jaw is left down on the ground of just how much strength this guy has. And I just said, I think it was yesterday on X, that I don't want to trade him. Sanjay, I can give up because I think this organization develops a lot of pitchers. What they don't have is a guy that hits the ball like Laz Montez. And I think if you're going to trade Laz Montez, it's got to be for someone that is better than Brendan Donovan. And Brendan Donovan's a good player, not a great player. He's a decent player. Okay. And I think when you trade someone like Montez, it's got to be for someone that has a little bit more ilk than Brendan Donovan. So I caught up with the scout yesterday, and he and I were just texting back and forth. And if people who don't know, during the baseball season, we had a scout came on every Friday to talk about baseball. He's a Major League Baseball scout now, current scout for many, many years, and been a long-time college baseball coach there as well. I just said, hey, we've talked about Montez a bunch. Give me the rundown on Montez one more time. And again, these are the things that we talked about in the season. Big, strong, raw power. Says he's a solid defender. And he says that, and again, he's a better defender than you think, and he's a better athlete than you think. And he and others have always brought up the comp of Yordan Alvarez there with the Houston Astros. He says his potential, middle of the order, future number 5-hole hitter, 30-plus home run guy every single year. And went on to say, did the scout about Montez, great makeup, great clubhouse guy. Did add this, perfect for a team that's trying to get young and start over. So again, if you're the Cardinals, it would be appealing to get Montez. Now, for Donovan, I asked him, what's your take on Donovan? And he said, the scout told me, like him, don't love him. Not really rangy for the middle, not going to hit for power, not going to hit home runs, but a good player. Went on to say that the Cardinals are a team that is made up of a bunch of unathletic players, slow-footed players, and that's what Brendan Donovan is. So, again, I like Brendan Donovan. He's a good player, not a great player, and I just think if you're going to trade Laz Montez, it's got to be for someone better than Brendan Donovan. Now, we're going to get to this one, the Seahawks here with Danny Kelly in just a minute. The offensive flip, can it be switched? It's a team that's sputtering right now, and they are going to need all cylinders firing on Thursday against the Rams, because they can ill afford to have these first half just brain farts where they can't move the ball or do anything and expect to get away with it there against the Rams. And then if they continue to operate like that, they're going to get beat. And be honest, they're going to get beat pretty soundly by the Rams, even though the first game was a great game and they easily could have won that football game. But offensively, they've got to stop sputtering. So we're going to get more on the Seahawks right now, coming up with our next guest. Danny Kelly from The Ringer joins us every single Tuesday, talking all things Seahawks and NFL. As always, our NFL coverage brought to you by Georgetown Brewery.
Drink Georgetown Tavern Beer, your new locally brewed domestic-style lager. 4.2% alcohol. Cheap, good, local.
Hello, Danny Kelly there from The Ringer, live from God's country in Pullman, Washington. Danny Kelly, you ever been to Pullman, Washington?
I don't think I have, actually.
Where
are you set up there? Are you in like a Holiday Inn Express?
No, we're in the listen to me. Look at me. Do I look like somebody would stay at a Holiday Inn?
I do.
Jesus. Huh?
Sorry.
Residence Inn by Marriott.
That looks pretty good. That looks
pretty nice. It's nice. And here's the beauty about staying in the Residence Inn, Marriott in Pullman on a Monday night, about $100. Now, if I were to do this on a football weekend, this would be $500. So you're winning.
That's fair.
Monday.
That's fair.
It's good. All right, Danny. Danny Kelly, of course, with us every single Tuesday. The Ringer senior staff writer, Ringer Fantasy Football Show, Ringer NFL Draft Show. Of course, you can follow Danny on all social media channels at Danny B. Kelly. And again, we talk all things NFL, brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. Now, we like to should we just jump right into your Danny's Dimes? Because I would assume number one on that list has got to be a 44-year-old grandfather who almost beat maybe the best defense in the NFL.
Yeah, we got to get that one out of the way.
Come on, Danny. I was excited to watch him play. I was.
Was he okay? I can't remember what we decided last week. Were you thinking he would be pretty competent, or did you think he was going to get actually killed in this game?
I can't remember exactly what I said, but I think that performance was probably what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was. I would say, big picture, he was more competent than it seemed like the narrative was painting it out to be. I feel like I was on the right side in terms of what I expected him to be in terms of look, he's on the Hall of Fame ballot for a reason. He's played a lot of football. And I think winning and playing against the Seahawks is more about understanding what to do with the football, and it's like more of a mental game than a physical one. Obviously, the physical thing does matter, but yeah, I mean they brought him out there. They tried to run the ball as much as possible. They had him throw the ball really, really quickly, which was honestly a really smart game plan. Didn't have a ton of juice in the old arm, but maybe he's just getting warmed up. He always kind of had a weird throwing motion, which I think kind of like makes it look like he has a dead arm. Even back in his prime, I always thought that he threw very weirdly. He just kind of has like a weird throwing motion, but yeah, I mean, he obviously put them in a position to win the game. You know, he put them up late in the game. Seahawks, thank God, came back and were able to kind of convert it and hit that 56-yard field goal. Good job, Myers. You're the only one that scored any points in that game, so hat tip to you. But yeah, I mean, overall, that was a stressful game. Didn't really enjoy myself too much watching that football game.
No one
At the end of the day,
I mean,
they got a W, though. They got a W.
End of the day, I've said it before. I like to quote the great former Kent Ridge Charger head football coach Marty Osborne, legendary coach for the Kent Ridge Chargers, who would always tell us as we left the locker room, just find a way to win.
Yeah.
Find a way to, and they found a way to win. Now, can you imagine? You talked about his arm strength. Can you imagine the highlight that would be playing nonstop had Jason Myers missed that field goal would be that back shoulder throw that he had. That was a nice pass to Pierce, I believe it was. I mean, that was a good pass.
That was was that a third down conversion? I can't remember. It was like on that final drive, whatever. It got them in position to like kick that field goal. I mean, yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. Like I thought he made some fine throws. Like he's definitely a 44-year-old man playing in the NFL. There was one point where he fell down and it took all his might to get back to his knee.
That was my favorite play of the game because I've been there. Yeah. I've been there a million times when you're getting up, you're kind of like, you kind of wobble
he got
a
up
little
in
bit.
Stages. Yeah.
That's the best way to describe it. He did. He got up in stages.
He's not hopping up like a 24-year-old athlete out there.
They only sacked him one time and they really didn't sack him. He just fell down.
Well, and honestly, look, that was a good game plan by the Colts because they got the ball out of his hands really quickly. It was like I felt like for the most part the Colts game plan was either run the ball or throw a quick screen. And you know, the Seahawks, you know, it's not like they gave up a lot of points. I think it was really more just the offense couldn't get anything going. You know, the defense played pretty well overall. Another fun game from Nick Emanwari, like that play to blow up that screen pass. I believe it was a screen pass to Jonathan Taylor was really just emblematic of kind of like the season he's had. I think he got off the block of like a big offensive line coming downhill, made the tackle. So that was really fun. But yeah, overall, just a stressful game, man. Like I kind of thought they were going to lose. I had in the back of my mind, like they still got a lot of time here as they hit that field goal. Like I think credit to Mike McDonald for managing the clock well late in that game and taking those timeouts when give themselves an opportunity to move the ball down the field. I thought that was well played. You know, from a technical standpoint, like they went and they did what they needed to do and got the W. But yeah, God, that was tough. The line. You ever seen Kingpin?
Oh,
you know how Big Earn wins at the end. He's like, "Were you stressed?" Of course I was stressed. I thought I was going to lose a guy with one arm. I kept kind of like thinking that.
My favorite scene. There's so many scenes in Kingpin that I love, but one of my favorite scenes is when Roy is eating the cereal.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Do you mind eating that outside?"
Why don't you go out there and finish that? That's like the same scene where he's like tells the waitress, he's like, "All right, honey, would you wash off that perfume before you come back next time?"
Oh God!
Just like I heard Bill Murray.
One of the greatest Bill Murray characters of
incredible.
all time.
I mean, if you haven't seen it, I don't know if any of your listeners. Like, I feel like a lot of your listeners probably have the demographic.
I would hope so.
Kingpin, but man, that is just an all-timer. My 30-year-old co-hosts on my podcast have not seen Kingpin, and it just drives me insane because it's like, and I heard that Bill Murray improvised like almost that entire thing.
Sure he did.
Just some all-time classic lines. But anyway, that line came to mind where he's like, "I thought I was going to lose to a guy with one hand," because it was like, you know, Jesus, this is like, what's more embarrassing, the Colts signing Phillip Rivers and playing him within 4 days, or the Seahawks losing to that guy?
Well, and that's what have been this. I mean, that's the storyline. Yeah, because they would go from, hey, we kind of thought that they were good to, God, I mean, Jesus, how good really are the Seahawks if they lost to a 44-year-old guy who just came off the street coaching high school football with a dad bod. I mean, it'd have been, just an incredible theater, but they did get the job done. And right, the defense was tremendous. Yeah, and they should have been. I mean, they held them 215, 220 yards, but again, that offense just continues to struggle. All right, so what else is on Danny's dimes?
Well, let's talk about the offense, the Seahawks offense, before we move on from the Seahawks. I think,
yes, please.
Fix
it, Danny.
We're warriors by nature. I'm still a little bit worried about the whole Sam Darnold thing. I think obviously,
I think you should.
The Seahawks going, I want to say they had 5 3-and-outs in this game. They went, I had it pulled up here. They went 2 for 13 on third down. That just is really concerning to me. Obviously, and look, the Colts have a good defense. I think the Seahawks went into this game thinking we're going to protect the football. Right. We're going to play conservatively. We know our defense can win it. So they slow played this, and I think that was part of it. But, man, it would just be nice to see them move the ball a little bit more efficiently, especially at home. I think the run game is improving ever so slightly. If you look at the success rate over the year, it's improved slightly. So that's great. But, again, it comes down to like these key moments, third downs, end of game stuff. They just need to get a little bit better. Red zone. They weren't good in the red zone.
I thought they were. What about your thoughts when they kind of went to the hurry up?
I thought that was good. It was a good changeup. It got the Colts on their heels. And so I like that. I'm trying to remember the exact moment that they did that. But yeah, I thought that was like a good thing that they could do to kind of like mix things up. Anytime you can kind of get a defense where you're dictating what you're doing to the defense rather than the defense dictating to you, I think that's a good thing. But yeah, and now like coming out of this game, it sounds like Charles Cross is probably going to miss this Rams game. So God, what kind of effect is that going to have?
Dugar pointed that out to me yesterday, and I'm like, yeah, did you see what happened to Cross? I'm like, no.
You're not watching the all 22 of the field goal?
I'm like, what are you talking about? What happened to Cross? No, I have no idea. It's like, oh yeah, you got to watch the video. Here it is. He hurts himself on the field goal. I'm like,
I think it was a hammy. Was it a hamstring?
Yeah, he did the splits.
Brutal. Of last play of the game, you're starting left tackle, blocking for a field goal. But yeah, so I think obviously a lot's at stake here with this game against the Rams this week. Hoping the Seahawks can get their offense going a little bit more, especially on third down, especially in the red zone, these key situations. So I think that's kind of like where it came out of that game. The offense, it was a bit clunky. It was a clunky game just overall. But I think that was partly by design. I think they were being very, very conservative for the most part.
And I agree. And I think, and I'm going to be real curious to see what they do Thursday. Like, how aggressive are they going to be on Thursday, or will they play a little bit more of a conservative game? Almost, stealing a little bit of what the Colts did to them. I'm just really curious if they want to do that just to limit opportunities for Stafford, but most importantly, and I guess the one thing you could praise Darnold for, on Sundays, he didn't really put a ball in any harm's way.
Right.
There was no balls that should have been picked off. He didn't make any errant throws.
I'm sure that was a huge focus coming into this game. Obviously, it's what we've been talking about. So that's good. And obviously, the last time the Seahawks played the Rams, that was the 4 interception or the 4 turnover game.
They played a great game if it weren't for his turnovers.
Yeah.
They win the game.
Right. So, this Rams offense, man, it is a buzzsaw. That was going to be one of my dimes. It's just, man, the Rams offense is looking really, really good right now. Obviously, it's a benefit to the Seahawks that it looks unlikely Devontae Adams is going to play. Yeah. I'll be interested to see how that changes what the Rams do offensively. They've been incredible running the football of late. So I think they're probably going to try and, pound the rock, kind of do what the Seahawks did against the Colts, whereas protect the football, pound the rock, play ball possession, let their defense do their job, try to get a takeaway here and there. This is going to be a knockdown, drag out type of game. And
use a lot of their tight ends. Don't they use tight ends more than anyone? That's
an interesting wrinkle because last game, basically that's what they've been doing. I haven't looked at the numbers lately, but they do a lot of the 3 tight end set thing, which is like nobody really does that. Yeah. Because they have a couple good tight ends. They've got, obviously Colby Parkinson, former Seahawk. He scored 6 touchdowns in the last 6 games. Like, he's a huge part of their red zone offense.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. And he looks really good. Honestly, like, it's not a fluke. He's a good player. He's out there moving around. He's a big target. He can block. He can get out there and run routes. They got him, Terrence Ferguson, and Davis Allen. So they've invested. By the way, they took Davis Allen before they took Puka Nacua that year, which I always think is one of the funniest little like factoids about the Rams. Like teams don't know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Teams don't. I mean, they ultimately do know what they're doing, but like they got lucky. They took Davis Allen out of Clemson before they took Puka in the 5th round. So Davis Allen's out there running around. I think he's a serviceable tight end. So they do a lot of this three tight end set stuff, and it's basically like what we talked about. They're dictating to the defense, like you guys are going to have to come out and match up with us, like in this heavy personnel, and then we're going to exploit it when you have heavy personnel out there.
And what's going to be fascinating, I think from both sides is going to be what McVay saw in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And what gave them issues? Like,
right.
what's his counter going to be to with what McDonald showed? And then McDonald knows he's going to have a counter. So then, what's his counter going to be?
Yeah,
it was a great back and forth chess match. I think you can say, despite the outcome, I would say that McDonald got the best of McVay in the first matchup. Now it didn't end up in a victory, but I think that was in large part because of the play of his offense and
well, turnover.
You
just can't win when you turn the ball over 4 times. But yeah, what I was going to get to though, like what you're saying about the chess match, it's so true because basically the Seahawks were one team this year that's really been able to kind of like just nullify the Rams tight end heavy formations because they have sort of unique personnel on defense. They have Witherspoon, they've got Evan Worry. They're built to kind of counter this type of offense where they can come in with what you would call lighter personnel. You have a couple of safeties, and obviously Evan Worry is like a nickel corner / corner. And you can play heavy personnel with defensive backs. That helps you play like the pass in the back end while still defending the run. So they have sort of I think a unique ability to match up against the Rams offense. Yeah. And what we saw in the last game was the Rams kind of gave up on the whole 3 tight end set or whatever, the 2 and 3 tight end sets. And then they went to more 11 personnel. However, now Devontae Adams is out probably. So what are they going to do in this game? Because who are the other the receivers that are going to kind of like Jordan Whittingham or whatever his name is. And then, Tutu Atwell. It'll be very interesting to see, like you said, what Sean McVay can come up with to kind of counter what the Seahawks did in the first game. He's been busy, by the way. He just had a baby, I think, today.
Well, he didn't have the baby.
Correct.
And if he did have the baby, that would be a first, I believe.
Well, since Arnold Schwarzenegger.
In the world. Yeah, right. In the world, but congratulations.
Did you ever see that movie? What was
Is that?
Arnold Schwarzenegger had a baby. I can't remember what it was called. God, it was terrible. 80s.
It's not Kindergarten Cop. No, because he's
no
plays a kindergarten cop. It's not Twins.
What was it? Hold on. Arnold.
Total Recall. I don't remember that one.
It was called he was pregnant. Junior. 1994. Junior. Not a great movie.
Well, I'll be the judge of that.
But yeah, he had a baby.
Okay.
Arnold, the tagline here is Arnold Schwarzenegger gets pregnant.
Yeah. Stop. That's all I need. Yeah, I'm in.
Enough. That's
2 thumbs up from Siskel and Ebert.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So this is gonna be a great game. Obviously.
It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait. As
Thursday night,
as I think we talked about, but before the first matchup is. You don't get really super excited, I don't think, in the NFL for regular season matchups all the time.
Yeah.
And that one was great. And frankly, it lived up to it. And I just think now you've got the entire country now is watching that game on Thursday. And it's so funny. And again, I think we get caught. We're stuck up here in what South Alaska is what was it Jimmy Johnson, I think, once famously said, or somebody did. But it is so true. I'm driving across to Pullman late last night on Highway 26, which, by the way, is probably the worst stretch of land and road maybe in America. And it's it's just there's nothing there. It's just dark, and you're just like, if something happens to me out here, I'm done.
They're gonna make a movie about this someday.
Yeah, I'm just finished. Or some weirdo's out there and decides to put his truck in the middle of the highway. I'm not surviving it. And I'm listening to Monday Night Football and Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner doing the game, and it wraps up. And And they do this whole thing around the NFL. Let's talk about all the NFL, and they start talking about all the teams in the NFC, and they're like, well, who's the best team in the NFC? And Kurt Warner goes into, which I don't disagree. He's like, hey, I think the Rams are. I just think they're the most complete team with the quarterback and the coach and the defense, just everything. They run the ball, and then they circled back. Well, what are the other contenders in the NFC? I mean, these sons of bitches named every team in the NFC, not the Seahawks.
Really, they forgot.
No, I guess you say, all right, you chalk it up. Maybe they forgot. I don't know how you forget when they're playing on Thursday, these two teams.
Yeah, that is bizarre.
They named the Panthers and the Bucks and the Lions.
The Panthers
and the Packers and the Cowboys. And I'm like, hello, the Seahawks, they're playing on Sunday. Or they're playing on Thursday.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're still quite disrespected, but they are just kind of always one of those teams because of where we're at that doesn't probably get enough attention.
Yeah. I think that the tape watchers, the ball knowers know Seattle are kind of like a real.
I know my balls.
Yeah, you know ball.
I know ball.
You know ball. But the Sam Darnold thing as like the face of the franchise, I think does not do us any favors in terms of like national recognition and national respect. He's cooled off as the year's gone on. And obviously early on in the season, I think people were like, whoa, damn. Like he's putting up incredible numbers. Now certainly has cooled off. All the turnovers have happened. And so, that changes the narrative. And obviously, like you said, we're kind of South Alaska out here. People don't think about us, I think, as quite as much as some of the other teams, the bigger name franchise or whatever. So yeah, it's crazy. They named the Panthers. Panthers just lost to the freaking Saints.
It's just, I was like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what's going on? All right. Have we missed anything on Danny's Dimes? We did a lot of Seahawks. What else?
Well, do you want to do a requiem for the Chiefs here?
Yeah, because I'll give you, I want to give you the floor. I'll just quickly say this. I think the playoffs are better when they're in it. It's more entertaining to me.
Yeah.
I
think when you have, it's like a superhero thing, right? Like it's going to be weird having the AFC playoffs this year with no Burrow, no Mahomes, maybe no Lamar. Not that he's been like a playoff buzzsaw or anything, but like obviously like one of the best quarterbacks, multi-time MVP. You're going to have a weird kind of playoff field with really good defenses. You're going to have, the Bo Nix and the Broncos. You're going to have probably CJ Stroud, who's been all over the place, and the Texans, who I actually really like watching the Texans. The Texans remind me of like the LOB Seahawks, man. They're just fun to watch on defense. And so, it's just kind of like a weird year in that sense. You got like Drake May is a potential MVP guy. And not to take anything away from how he's played, but he kind of came out of nowhere. It's I don't know if it's like a end of an era because Mahomes will be back. He's still got Andy Reid and, but it is like a closing of that chapter. They went to the playoffs 10 straight times. I think they made like 5 out of 7 Super Bowls or something like that. 5 out of 6 Super Bowls.
Incredible run.
From my point of view, I'm kind of glad they're not going to be the Super Bowl again. I wish they were in the playoffs, but I don't want to see them in the Super Bowl again, from like a coverage point of view.
I get it.
From like
I
the
totally
media, I'm like, it's the same guys every year. Like, give us something new. But I think, it is very strange to see a team that has been this dominant for a decade. Just bow out. And of course, it's even worse that he tore his ACL in that loss. And so, obviously just nothing but respect. It's hard to do this for that long in the NFL. Like very, very, very few teams can do that. It's like basically in the modern era, it's like the Patriots and the Chiefs have been able to do it. And that's about it. Like it's like, as we saw with the Seahawks, it looked like they were going to be a dynasty. Things fell apart. They unraveled because of personalities and, things like that. So, it's, obviously tip of the cap to the Chiefs and what they've been able to do. Kind of glad they're not in the playoffs, I'll be honest, but it is going to be a very different dynamic in this AFC field because of the lack of like star power at quarterback.
Yeah, for sure. And it opens the door for Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen, man. If you can't do it this year, that's worrisome.
Well, the funny thing is, if he does it this year, people are gonna be like, "Wow, he only did it because Mahomes wasn't."
I know. There's caveat. There's caveats
live with that.
Yeah,
whatever.
I hope I do hope the Bills go to the playoff or go to the Super Bowl. I think.
I want them to win the damn thing. I mean, if it's not the Seahawks, I want the Bills to win.
Seahawks. Yeah, I think that's what we'll be rooting for.
That tortured freaking franchise, brutal.
Yeah.
I would love for the Bills to pull it off. All right, where can everybody find, wherever we can watch and listen to you throughout the week?
You can check out my show, The Ringer Fantasy Football Show. We do 4 shows a week.
Damn.
We're on YouTube. We're on every place you get your Spotify, your iTunes. I don't know where people watch stuff on Apple. I don't do that, but I'm Spotify all the way.
Yeah.
But and then also soon, Netflix. You're going to be able to see my ugly mug on Netflix in 4K if you want, which is weird.
And I'm told season 5, volume 2, there's a special appearance, Stranger Things with Danny Kelly.
Just a little nugget there. Yeah. May or may not be true.
May or may not be in Stranger Things.
Yes.
Look for it.
Yes.
Wherever when you
I'm like in the background.
Netflix. Yes.
In the upside down somewhere.
They should put you with guys in there. It'd be great. A little cross promotion.
Oh yeah.
Be excellent. All right. Great work, Danny. We'll check in with you next week. Can't wait to react to the Rams and Seahawks part 2.
Sounds great.
All right. There he is. There he is, Danny Kelly, Danny B. Kelly there on social media. And, of course, you can read all of Danny's work up at The Ringer. And, again, as he mentioned, you can get it everywhere. Again, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find all of your podcasts. Again, just a short show today because we're gonna leave the residence in here in Pullman. We're gonna make our way over to the football facility where the press conference will be held later today at 1:00 with Kirby Moore being introduced as the new football coach there at Washington State. We will come back probably around 12:45 or today, later before the press conference starts at 1:00. And come on with another live show setting you up for the press conference, air the press conference here on Puck Sports as well, and then get reaction afterwards. And we will catch up with Kirby Moore and other special guests throughout the day over here in Pullman. All right, before we go, let's quickly get you caught up on this day, December 16th, kind of a busy day. We'll do that and some birthdays here. 1973. O.J. Simpson, star running back at USC, of course, went on to star in the NFL. We'll get to what happened afterwards there with the Buffalo Bills. He becomes the first running back to eclipse 2,000 yards in a season. Now, 8 other running backs have rushed for over 2,000 yards, Saquon Barkley being the last one to do it in 2024. Eric Dickerson holds the all-time record with 2,105 yards. He set that back in 1984. Also on December 16th in 2019, Drew Brees, he set the all-time NFL passing record with 4 touchdowns. He passed Peyton Manning, 539. He has since been passed now by Tom Brady. Okay, non-sports news here on this date, December 16th, 1985. I didn't know the Mafia is still around, but it was obviously around back in 1985. But John Gotti, he assumed leadership of the Gambino crime family, would run it for years before being in prison. Then his death, he was known as the Dapper Don and the Teflon Don. John Gotti, assuming the Gambino crime family in 1985. 2010, Seattle, hello. Larry King's final episode, Larry King Live, appeared on CNN, December 16th, 2010. The suspenders, the glasses, everything. One of the best to ever do it, interviewing people. He was incredible. A couple of happy birthdays. Masters champion. He's got a green jacket. He's 46 years of age today. He's on the CBS broadcast with Jim Nantz. Trevor Immelman turning 46 today. And also celebrating a birthday. No longer with us, though. Frank DeFord. If you don't know who Frank DeFord is, a longtime sports writer, commentator. I was just thinking about this show the other day, how much I miss like great journalism, because great journalism now is dead. But great sports journalism and Real Sports on HBO was fantastic. It was hosted by Brian Gumbel. Frank DeFord was a contributor to that, and he was sensational. He would have been 87 today. He died back in 2017. All right. Hey, What the Puck is brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. As we wrap up the show, lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. And really now more than ever, if you are in Skagit County, if you are down in Kent, South King County, wherever you know someone that is affected by the absolute devastation that has happened to this state. And it is, it's heartbreaking to see some of these images that have come out, what you've seen on the news, people they've lost lives, they've lost their homes, they've lost everything that they've had. And if you need help, if your home or someone's home that has been destroyed, your business, let restoration1.com, restoration1.com is the website, the North Seattle franchise. This is what they do. I've known the owner. I've known Trent for a long time. This is what his guys do. They come in there and they take care of it from top to bottom. And I mean everything, from the financials to the issues with the renovation to helping you out. They just do the entire process. You don't have to go through a bunch of different people to help you through such a tragic time, and a time in which your head is spinning. They're going to do everything for you. If you don't have insurance, it's no problem. They're going to help you out at Restoration One, restoration1.com. The North Seattle franchise, for anyone that that's been affected by these just horrible storms. I know they continued last night, and the flooding and people being evacuated from their homes. And it's just, it's real sad. It's real sad to see this affect so many people across our state. So hopefully, if you need help, reach out to restoration1.com of North Seattle, because they'll go anywhere. It's just because it says North Seattle doesn't mean they only work in Seattle or North Seattle. They will go anywhere to help folks out. He's got a lot of family up in that Snohomish County, so certainly very familiar and aware of the struggles that is happening up there. All right. We'll end the show with this. We talked about it, I think, maybe yesterday, the day before, but since I'm in Pullman, we are going to cover the Kirby Moore press conference today. I'm just excited about Kirby Moore. We started off this show. We went through all the reasons why I'm personally excited. Again, we've got to see it on the field, whether or not he can deliver. And obviously, at the end of the day, that's all that matters, is it wins and losses. And worrying about if someone is going to leave later. But this is a good day for Washington State. I really, really believe it is. I did like Jimmy Rogers. Again, I thought he was a very good football coach. This is a different side that you're going to see, I think, coming out later today, which we will carry his press conference here on Puck Sports. Very different, very charismatic. It's an offensive-minded coach versus a defensive-minded coach, but it's a guy that has roots in this state and roots in this side of state, on this side of the state. When they have dipped into the coaches at this program that are from here, it's been pretty damn successful. Mike Price and Dennis Erickson are going to be the two prominent names that come to mind. They had great success. Yes, Dennis was here for 2 years, but he parlayed that into a job at Miami, won national championships, and Mike Price was a tremendous football coach. Both on the west side of the state now, Washington State gets its first taste of a head coach from this state, from this side of the state. I'm just extremely excited to see what he can do, what he can build here, especially going into this new world of the Pac-12. All right, that's Hey What the Puck. Again, brought to you by Restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Again, if any damages, especially due to this flood, please reach out to them. They're going to take care of you and help you out throughout this process. And again, thoughts to everyone out there affected by it. Big thanks to everybody watching and listening to today's show. Thank you to all the sponsors: Limbeck Lumber, Flatstick Pub, Georgetown Brewery, Restoration One. Those guys make this possible every single day. Allows us to come on over here and cover a press conference live for you coming up later today. Today's Daily Puck Drop, you can find it up on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel. You may watch it all the time, whether it's live or later, and don't subscribe to it. Hit that subscribe button, please. Also find the Daily Puck Drop on your favorite podcast platforms and find everything up at pucksports.com. When you're there at pucksports.com, please sign up to become a member of the Pucks Posse. It's just $5 a month. You're going to support all the free content we do. In addition, you get bonus shows throughout the week. Our baseball coverage with Ryan Divish coming out tomorrow, the Seattle Times. Thursday visits with Mitch Levy, KJ Arntz, all of that comes with a Pucks Posse membership. Also, check out the brand new Graz with Gas Take 5 podcast. Came out yesterday. We produce it here at Puck Sports. New episodes every Monday on YouTube and all podcast platforms. Just search Graz with Gas Take 5. All right. We will talk to you tomorrow. We'll be back in Seattle tomorrow on Wednesday's show. It will have Jim Moore. It should have Rob Staten. I believe he is back. And we will have Inside Pitch there with Ryan Divish. We'll see you tomorrow. As always, promise to be better and go Cougs.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!